And of course, we're talking about John Bonham.
Bonzo.
Bonzo, also aka Bonzo.
Yes.
One of the most recognized names in drumming.
Could you say overrated?
Actually, I would.
Why? Why?
And look, I mean the whole thing with being overrated, with no disrespect for the man, the artist, and the instrumentalist. He was great. He was a legend, and he did, huh?
The drunk.
Yes, a legendary drunk as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he deserves the status of legend. He's amongst the rock legends.
Yeah, he is. He's part of the pantheon of rock gods.
But the thing is, what I mean by overrated, and you know that being overrated means that he's rated above what he is.
Yes.
So it's a
Doesn't
comparison.
mean that it's a bad drummer by any means.
Yeah, because now we're talking about public perception more than we're talking about his qualities
Objective.
as a drummer.
Agreed.
Because he's a fantastic drummer.
Yeah,
he is one of the most inspirational drummers ever, and I will say that that's also justified.
And I also think that part of what makes some of their songs to sound metal is the drumming.
Yeah.
Because, the guitar is very bluesy.
Mm-hmm.
The singing is also, well, it's the singing, it's Led Zeppelin. No, Robert Plant's a good singer. The thing is that it's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
And John Paul Jones' basses are a little bit more on the technical side.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the same what happens with The Who. He's the one who keeps the band together when they were just going nuts on stage. Yeah, great bass players both.
Yeah.
I always forget the name of the bass player for The Who. Please remind me. Great.
Entwine? No.
Entwine?
No. Regardless,
Yeah,
I'll remember
it
later.
might come back to you, but yeah.
So now Bonzo,
Bonzo, yes.
fantastic drummer.
Yes.
The thing is, people make such a big fuss out of him, as if there was no other drummer in history that could compare, and that's where I'm gonna draw a line, because he is excellent.
Yes.
He is legendary. He is extremely influential.
He deserves his place.
But there are many other drummers throughout history that are the same level or above.
And even if you try to make the claim that it's because of him being one of the first or one of the more unique drummers back in that era, you got Kid Moon.
Yes, you just mentioned who. Yes.
Yeah, who is as loud, if not louder, as wild, if not wilder,
He's wilder.
as a person, yes.
And as a drummer as well.
I would
Yeah.
say that both are at least as loud as each other. So, and technically speaking, both are extremely proficient.
But I think.
And also both died for sins.
Yeah.
So,
But I think Keith Moon was actually the more creative drummer out of the two. He was more adventurous. Let's call it adventurous.
that might be where the line is drawn.
Mm.
Because Kid Moon's drumming tend to be a little bit more creative, but that creativity sometimes could get in the way. Get me? And Bonzo's performances were always in the service to the song. His approach to drumming is more conservative.
Yes.
Not necessarily because he was less of a drummer. I think it's because he understood his role within the band. Because what shines in Led Zeppelin from an instrumental perspective is the guitar. It's always been the guitar. Jimmy Page is actually the face of the band outside of even I think he's even more popular than Robert Plant.
He is.
The thing is that when you compare someone like Bonzo to Kid Moon tends to be more risky. And sometimes that risky factor, not necessarily because I have a hard time thinking of a bad The Who song, if that's even possible. But sometimes the drums could be a little bit distracting. Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But Led Zeppelin became way more popular than The Who, I think, because The Who is also gigantic. And Team The Who, being frank, I prefer The Who over Led Zeppelin, in my humble opinion. No, man, that's not even a trigger. That's obvious. No,
I agree.
no. The thing is that I understand why people would prefer Led Zeppelin as well. The thing is that since The Who was a little bit more, I think that both are so weird. Let me explain. I am a prog rocker. I love progressive rock music. I love music that is complex in nature and that has plenty of different elements and expansive. Okay, sounding compositions. I was about to say that The Who has much more audacity in their compositions, but no, Led Zeppelin as well.
Yeah.
And you can make the argument that Led Zeppelin could be even more prog due to them having longer songs and more on the magnus opus style of track than The Who. But you can make the claim that also Who has badass conceptual albums, even rock opera.
Yeah.
So that's where Who is
thi-
proggier.
I do think that the Who is kind of crazier.
But can we agree that they're proggier than Pink Floyd?
Either one of them by a lot.
Oh yeah, because Stairway to Heaven. Yeah, I'm big Pink Floyd fan, but come on, for real. Stairway to Heaven has way more changes on its composition than the entire career of Pink Floyd. For being, come on, tell me if it's not real. Because how many movements do you think Stairway to Heaven has? Movements is
At
musical
least-
sections on which you see a clear pattern going.
At least 4 super well defined.
Yeah.
But with quite a lot of motion in the contained
Yes.
in them as well.
How many of those happen in at 7 minutes long? Dogs by Pink Floyd, 20.
It's a great song.
It's the best, but it has like 2 movements.
Who needs more?
Oh, I'm just saying. The thing is that we like to make fun of Pink Floyd because we happen to be huge Pink Floyd fanboys, but that doesn't stop us from being frank. But coming back to Led Zeppelin and the Who,
No,
which one do you think is much more progressive in that regard? Because both have. The thing is that it's kind of hard, right? Because you can also attack the Who if you go back to the early days on which they were playing something more similar to the Rolling Stones. A little bit more, you get me, a little bit more innocent sounding, or less expansive, a little more bird to the bones, which is still good.
Yeah.
But it's more fun than
It was more rock and roll
It was
than-
more rock and roll than actually. Oh wow, this is good music.
And they're great at it as well.
Yeah,
But honestly, I think they actually shine doing music that is a little bit crazier.
they are better than
Yeah.
100%.
My personal take on it, I do think that the Who is a little bit proggier than Led Zeppelin. I would say, not by much, but I do think that the scope of their compositions is a little bit more daring. I think you mentioned the form factor, the length of the songs.
Yes.
And Led Zeppelin has longer songs,
Because-
which is a factor.
It is, and it's a big one because you
Yeah.
got songs like obviously "Stairway to Heaven," but you got the Rain song. I think one of their best songs, "Freaking No Quarter." What was the name of the one? Oh no, that's you know.
No.
The one that kind of sounds like reggae, but then it morphs into something like a samba. Oh come on, man!
You kind of lost me.
I don't remember the name.
Well, there's no, if you know,
It's a very famous song by them, but I don't know why for the life of me I can't remember the name. But also you got the song remains the same. Achilles last stand. Damn, it's such a great band.
it is a great band.
Every song like I want to listen to them now. It's so good, right?
Yep, let's actually, we have one here, let's see.
Yep, I heard Joss. Hey, good to have you here, man. He says that I heard from the drummers that Achilles heel is one of the hardest to play for drummers. What do you think?
Again, it goes back to the point that I was making about him being overrated. Again, not attached to the guy. I think it's the way that people look at him. And I think this claim of it being one of the hardest tracks to play on the drums is also a little bit of an evidence of that. Because if you get basically anything by Dream Theater, anything by...
Die Maker. Yeah, that Maker.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
But look, anything by... Well, Dream Theater, let's say, just to pick one.
Okay.
You cannot compare anything that he played on a complexity level. I'm not talking quality.
Which
of
one is better?
music.
No, of course not.
Yeah, because you can have tremendous musical performance without any form of complexity.
Yeah, because you can make the same argument using Neil Peart.
Yes.
Another excellent drummer, but it's not. We're not comparing quality.
Yeah,
we're
so-
comparing just technical.
So to say that this is one of the most difficult parts for drummers, I think that's quite off the mark, honestly, from a personal
But
perspective.
now I think now from a rusty and crusty music producer perspective, I think the difficulty, particularly when it comes to the drumming for Led Zeppelin, is the intensity, the performance aspect.
Yeah, delivering.
Yeah, and I think
Agreed.
that could be the reason why that song makes it punchy, man. The only good rendition that I have ever seen live of that song was with Mike Mangini playing. Yeah, but but it was him on drums. Like, it's obvious, but it's not necessarily. But he did it because he's a very gifted drummer. But also, I think his level of proficiency let him work more on the hardest part, which is the projection.
Yeah.
Because even he went bananas, man.
Yeah.
He was playing a theater, and he went that loud that even like, oh, and that's when I got it. The difficult part, at least when it comes to drumming for Led Zeppelin music, is the massive wall of sound that the drums are meant to be.
Yeah, actually, there's an important distinction to be made, because when I'm talking about, for instance, a drum part being hard, I'm not talking necessarily from getting that right sound. I'm talking to nailing the part. I'm looking only from that angle. I will say that there's a lot of stuff that is way harder.
Yes.
But the sound of Bonzo is something that was only his.
Yeah, that's a
and
thing.
nobody else will ever be able to attain that particular sound, and that's why he's legendary.